Hi everyone, the idea of this video is to introduce you to an idea using polymeter to create interesting and evolving harmonic material on top of a predictable time signature. For this video I'm showing you how I worked with violin parts performed by Heather Elder to create layers on my track called Escalators, Violins. And the basic idea is to take polymetric material, in this case the violins, to run that through a gate that essentially samples a chunk of that material, and then adding, in this case, a delay, but you can also use some kind of a looper that does a fixed number of repeats to add a kind of layer of predictability, or to force that polymetric material back into one time signature. So I'm going to go ahead and solo the violins, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video. And what you can hear is that the violins come in every 4 bars and then they echo away. And each time the violins come in, there's actually 3 of them. And each time they come in, they're playing different notes. And you might have already understood what I was saying when I just described this, but of course I wanted to actually show you in case that didn't make any sense. So what I'm going to do first is solo one of the violin parts and play it to you with none of the effects. And all I asked Heather to do was to play, in this case, a 4-note progression in 3/4 time, which is just playing a bar of each of these 4 notes. And she very patiently played it round and round, exploring different timbre and bowing techniques and so forth. You can hear there it's really softening. And then we did this 3 times, but as I say, in different time signatures. So the next one's in 7/8. And each of the parts is playing different notes to the other, so that when you stack up the 3 layers, they're essentially creating triads, playing chords, but they're not necessarily chords you'd normally hear, or ones that I would think to write. So one's in 3/4, one's in 7/8, and the last one's in 5/4. That's obviously the highest, so it's slightly more intense on its own. And the effect when you play all 3 at once is obviously each 4-bar progression is a different number of beats long if you just count it in terms of number of beats. And so they loop around in a way that it's very unlikely that you're all going to get back to the start of the bar happening all in the one place within the course of a 4-minute track. Or I mean, maybe it happens, but not in the way that I could even pick. And so then the next step is to then try and sort of impose that 4/4 time signature on top of these things, none of which are in 4/4. So if I fade in, what I've done is applied what I described as a gate. And the gate, as you can hear, basically kills the signal, like removes the sound, except at the start of every 4 bars. So what you're seeing here is a visual indicator. That's 1 bar of 4/4 where the sound comes through. And up the top, if you know about ADSR, it's got a slow attack on it. Oh, it's also got a low pass filter, so you can hear all the high ends disappearing. I'll go back to the start. Oh, and I'm just getting some CPU glitch. That's not good. Hopefully it settles down. Yep. So it's got slow attack and a long release, so it doesn't just cut off. It fades away, as you can hear there. And then the final trick is just to chuck a delay on that. And I also put a chorus on it. So the chorus is just some extra flavour, but the delay really strongly reinforcing the 4/4 feel, because it's echoing in groups of 4 beats. But as you can hear, each time the violins come in, and partly it's a credit to Heather's playing, that there's a certain kind of flavour to things as they come in each time, but also harmonically the stack of 3 notes is just changing in a way that you probably can't keep up with, or that I know I can't. And then what I did, I'd already written a set of chords which are happening in 4/4, so the overall result is you get this violin part that's almost like a counterpoint. I don't know if you call it a counterpoint when it's a separate harmonic layer, but it's basically adding this additional flavour in a way that kind of constantly evolves against a set of chords that are just happening in a kind of standard 4/4 progression. So let's unsolo all of that and hear how it works together. So I hope that's all making sense to you. In other pieces of mine, I've actually used a looper that just loops a discrete number of times, and sometimes I loop in different length patterns, so not just in a bar, but it might capture something for 3 beats, so you get that dotted feel against the main rhythm, but still cutting out every, say, 4 bars or 2 bars. And a track, if you'd like to hear another example of that, you could look up another track of mine called Phase off the album Everything Happens for some reason. And that's one where I'm doing this, I think, 3 or 4 times, and it's basically the whole guts of the track. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll leave it here.